Okay, is this thing on?
This time, yes.
Yeah, okay. Hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, second try. Hi everyone, welcome back to Photomode Unplugged. We are your hosts, Ruben and Mick. Hi. How are you, Mick?
I am good. Now that we're actually recording, I am good.
Technical issues. So, how have you been? What you have been doing, playing?
The last week, what I've been doing is not much playing. I have played a little bit because, well, God of War is fully out in the wild now. It was interesting that it got a version 2 update before even coming out. But honestly, I've not played an awful lot. I've spent quite a bit of time doing stuff for the VP Awards, which is and who knew it was coming back again this year?
I had no idea.
So I've been working with Chris in session, and we're getting a nice design on the trophy. There's a trophy back again now, so that's coming together. My time has been commanded by Red Bull again.
The winners are still not out, right?
The winners are not. I know the winners, but they're not. They're in. It's all verification process at the minute. So we're going through that, and also planning the New York stuff. There's a New York event. But other than that, so I've played Gran Turismo because I love Gran Turismo still, and I can't stop playing it. When I've had a busy day, it's just like, oh, come on, I'm going to do my daily marathon. I'm going to earn 700,000 at Sardinia. And that's it. What have you been up to?
I have to admit, I haven't played in a while, but it's still on my top games of the year. It's
It's one of my games of my life.
Yeah, it was actually my first racing game ever.
Really? Yeah. Oh, you mean the original Gran Turismo?
The original Gran Turismo, yeah. So I dropped out after 4 and now came back for 7. But yeah, it's still one of the best games of the year. Yeah. The microtransaction stuff is not great, but the gameplay itself, it's really, really good. And I love the escapes.
I think you can ignore the matches. Go
on. Before I speak about my week, I have a question for you. Do you play any mobile games ever?
Not really. I mean, I have like a couple of things installed, like Metro, the subway station thing. Yeah. But in general, no, because I really hate having no physical controls. I hate touchscreen controls. So for a game, I mean, I don't mind using the phone, obviously, but for gameplay, I really don't like the vagueness of touchscreen.
Last time I finished Final Fantasy IX, it was on the phone. But
really?
I'm asking this because I've been hooked. So I platinum God of War Ragnarok already. Already, yeah.
Well done.
And I haven't even seen version 2.0. But the game that I've been playing nonstop is Marvel Snap on the phone. It's basically just card games, and I love a good card game, and that one is super cool. And I've been like hooked. It's like I can't stop.
You do like Marvel as well, though.
Yeah, but a game of Marvel Snap takes 3 minutes. And even if you lose, it feels super fair all the time. It's like I have a problem with online gaming. I do. I had to stop League of Legends because I was playing a long hours. Like it was like 4 a.m. I had work the next day, but I was playing League of Legends. I had to stop. It was bad, really, really bad.
My favorite card game in gaming is the one from your favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy VIII. But Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII, even the music is sensational.
Tetramaster on Final Fantasy IX, it's better than Triple Triad.
Anyway,
everything about 9 is better than 8.
Let's move on. We can't have this.
Okay, For today's topic, we are talking about social media and VP.
The two kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Because virtual photography as a phenomenon, as I won't say the art form, because the art can exist on its own, but as a popular thing, as in the transformation from it being an industry serving thing to a hobby and a pastime has happened on social media, really.
No. I've been asked before, why do I think it became popular and VP, and it's social media.
Yeah.
You sharing your experience. It's like streaming, but easier. It's like you are sharing your experience through your eyes with others.
Yeah, it's not just sharing the experience as well. It's kind of the ability to distill that experience into a single moment, into a single shot. And then, I mean, this is the great thing about photography in general, is that you can tell a story in a single image, in a single frame, and you convey something to the viewer. And virtual photography absolutely captures that. That wasn't even intended, but it was unavoidable at that point.
So before we actually put out a tweet on Twitter,
yes,
asking for people's questions about this topic, and we are going to answer as many as possible.
There was a good number.
The response was incredible. Please send your questions every single week.
Every week.
Happy.
Even if there's no question, send us your questions.
Yeah, about anything.
just
about
tell
anything.
us what you want to know.
If you want a good recipe for hot choco, I don't have it, but I will Google it and give it to you.
There you go.
During the show. But yeah, before we move on to the questions, we want to talk a bit about our experience on social media with VP, the good and the bad. Do you want to start with the good? Your good experience?
Oh yeah, we'll start with the. Yeah, I mean, you usually take, if it was like good news, bad news, you'd say bad news first. But yeah, okay, we'll start with the good, because there's definitely more of the good. So I'm, as we've already established, I'm not a huge social media user. Largely because I kind of use things for a real. If I need to have a purpose, so I use it to achieve something. Now I used to, back years ago, I used to think Twitter was the most pointless thing. I was like, people just telling you what they've had for breakfast. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares, because there was no purpose for it. And I remember I actually joined Twitter. You reminded me of the date that I joined Twitter the other day, and I've already forgotten, but whatever it was, 10 years ago.
2011.
Yeah. 11 years ago.
11 years.
So the reason I joined it is because Guerrilla Games, funnily enough, were running a thing on Killzone. You remember Killzone, right?
Yeah.
And it was like this... it's kind of a contest, but it was like a puzzle as well. So they had loads of ciphers and codes that were hidden, and people had to work together online to try and crack these codes. And I got through to the final of this Killzone. I can't remember what the contest was called. And the final involved you taking control of a real life 50 caliber machine gun in a firing range. And you were supposed honestly, I'm not even making it up. If you go back to the origins of my Twitter account, it'll all be about that. Because that's why I joined, to try and get into this contest, and I got through to the final.
There is actually a website that lets you know what your first tweet was.
Oh, okay. You can search by date, can't you? If you know, you can filter the dates if you do a search.
Yeah, you can. You can't scroll that fast.
It limits
because it's only 3,000. Your 3,000 most recent tweets, but you can, like, with advanced
if you filter
search.
it by date, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this real gun thing, and it didn't work as it turned out. They staged all this thing. So if anybody from Guerrilla is watching this, you owe me the session with the 50 cal machine gun. But anyway, and honestly, I never really used Twitter very much until literally until Photomodes appeared, and it just became a place to share something, but also it was a place where the studios and the publishers are also there, and that's the key difference. Is you're not just sort of throwing it out to random people. You even almost without trying, you're getting some interaction with the people involved in the games, and that it's just been. I will openly admit that I'm not the biggest fan. Like, I don't really go out my way for social media, but it's benefited me hugely. You know, I wouldn't have achieved the stuff with the website that I have without being able to share it and reach an audience. I would have been at the mercy of Google, and I don't think it would have worked. So yeah, for me, it's been a real positive.
Did you start the website before or after Twitter?
No, after. Just after. So I started Twitter with just my old username, which was MickLSP. And then I rebranded that, and I made the website sort of as a portfolio originally. But yeah, once I started the blog and writing about stuff, being able to put it out to people who were sharing the interest, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's a pool of shared interest. That's what works about it. And yeah, it's really helped the website become visible. So yeah, it's been good. So you must have many good experiences with.
I wouldn't say many, but I always knew I wanted to work with video games somehow, but I never did. And to this day, I never work directly in games. But if it wasn't for social media, I would never have the interaction with the devs that wouldn't let me. Give me the courage to start streaming, give me the courage to put out stuff every single day that would eventually lead me to work with Ubisoft, with Crystal Dynamics, put me into direct contact with Santa Monica, and that also helped me now be a moderator on their Discord. So without Twitter specifically, because I tried Instagram before many times.
Instagram.
I use it, but now it's just my life. Like, I don't use it specifically for VP anymore. I had several accounts over the years on Instagram, and I used to have one with a decent following, and it was personal. But
so, quick question: what do you class as a decent following?
I had about 5,000 followers on Instagram, and this was like 5 years ago, so before I even started VP. And then I started an account for VP, and I decided to... This story isn't funny because I mistakenly deleted that old account that had... Yeah. So when you go to Instagram to delete an account, I wanted to delete my VP account. And it tells you to go to the browser to delete it. And I went into the browser and deleted the account without noticing that in the browser I was logged in into my personal account, and not and after that it was just gone.
Oh, well. But you get the reward of building it again.
I never did. It took me, I was so far ahead on Twitter with VP that I never did the whole doing posts every day, doing polls, doing questions, interacting with others on Instagram. So I never seen the point.
Do you think that's the attraction then? Is the the daily interaction with others. Yeah. And what kind of interaction?
I have no idea why. Like I can't do what you do. I can't put out a post, someone leaving a comment, and I don't reply right away. I can't do that. If I have notifications off my phone of every single app, but if I see the notification, I will like right away reply because that person took time off their life to leave me that comment. And the thing is, I like interacting with others. I like interacting with devs from God of War. I like interacting with devs from Insomniac, from Guerrilla, from PlayStation Studios. I'm a bit biased, sorry.
But they don't interact with you, so.
But they do. That's the thing.
There's a joke about PlayStation Portugal ignoring you.
Let's. Those aren't devs. That's but they do. They ignore me all the time, unless it is to go on their show for some reason. But yeah. You threw me off, but yeah, that's the beauty of social media for me, is that I get to interact with the people that I admire. I have been following Cory Barlog's career since God of War 2. He was the director of God of War 2, and I followed his career when he tried to move on to film with, I don't know if you know this, but he was part of the production of Justice League Dark with Guillermo del Toro before that movie was scrapped, and then he came back to help with Tomb Raider 2013. So, and now he's following me. It's like, it's crazy to me that he replies to some of my comments as, and I know this is just an expression, but he calls me my friend, and it's like, that's crazy to me because it's literally my dream to meet the guy. Yeah. It's like my biggest achievement, and he knows who I am. At least that's like completely bonkers to me. If you told me before Spider-Man came out that I would have that kind of interaction with Cory Barlog, I would be like, just freaked out.
It is very rewarding to even think that you've got that kind of interaction, and for them to be aware of you, isn't it? Essentially, it's just
and even like I can talk openly, I think, about this, but there is a VP, fairly recent, as far as I know, Nico from the Philippines, and I freak out every time that I think that I know someone or someone from the Philippines knows my work, even if it's just a VP that I interact daily. I interact with people from all over the world daily, and that it's amazing and beautiful in a certain way. We are all sharing our creativity, having the courage to put it out, and we kind of establish these relationships with people. Like, we would never meet.
No.
Our paths would never cross if it wasn't VB on Twitter.
I mean, just to touch on the global part of it, because some of the data that I get through the website, obviously you see where the traffic comes from, and it is literally worldwide, every continent, and you can see like little tiny island somewhere, and there's just there's one person there. You think, oh, you've reached someone, but
it's actually a bot in a bot farm.
Hey,
but
I don't have any bots.
It's there.
No, I've got none from China. But yeah, you're dead right about meeting people. So I don't think that there's a bit of a misconception that social media has to be about hitting really high numbers and being really successful. I've always said that, back on your Snap interview, I said likes don't matter. And on my phone, I have no notifications for likes. I've got no notifications for retweets. I've got no notifications for anything that I can't respond to. I do have notifications for comments because that's a more valuable interaction, and I do reply to comments. But yeah, like the reason for it isn't that. It's about connecting with people with the same interest. And we met through this. We haven't yet met in person, but one day
you can come to Portugal anytime you want.
One day there may or may not be an episode in the same room.
I want that to happen very much.
We did briefly discuss making the first episode that way, but I think that would have been a mistake anyway. We'd have been too distracted
and really unprepared. The time it would take us to even try to make it live will take us like the whole time.
Yeah, that it will be
if
better
I was there,
this way around, definitely.
Yeah.
But you know,
for episode 100, let's.
An anniversary one. Yeah, maybe 1 year, 1 year anniversary. Okay, we'll see. But yeah, you know, like most of the people you haven't even met, but you feel like you interact with them so much, or you chat to them in DM so much that you know them quite well.
Have you ever met a VP in real life?
Yeah. Actually, just recently. So Phil, he's called at U1.
Yeah.
But we went to Liverpool to see the Wipeout Physar, the BAC mono car, and he retweeted it, and so I saw it from him sharing it, and I was like, oh my god, I'd love to go and see that. So I asked if he was going, and he was. So I was like, right, brilliant, we'll meet up. So we met up at the train station. We went there together, and you know we met Nick Burkham. In fact, he's in the other room. We got Nick to sign our copies of Wipeout because we did the whole screaming
That's
fan
so
thing.
Cool.
But it was a great day to chat to someone in person about this. You know,
I live like in the same city, right next to, like half an hour most from Gaming by Frame. We talk a lot in the DMs, and we never found the time to meet. And maybe. And this is crazy. We will meet at Lisbon Games Week next week.
Okay.
In another city.
That's further away, more distance between what you live. Yeah.
But I'm actually meeting with Gongas in there. He was one of the winners from the contest, and he's going to be there, and I'm going to be there for the whole thing. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to meet at least 10 VPs next week.
Brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah.
So I've got I'm gonna refer to some of the questions here because
it's 23 minutes in.
It is 23 minutes in. We've not done a question yet. This is a big topic. There is a possibility that this will run into a 2-hour slot, and we'll split it down the middle. But we'll see how it goes. So because you're on about meeting in reality, essentially. So the first one on the list is from Agent Wushel. Can the VP community only exist on social media? No, it absolutely can exist beyond that. Social media is a really huge enabler for virtual photography right now, because the nature of it is the reason it's so successful is because the studios and the publishers see the benefit of it, because it's essentially free publicity for a game. You know, you put out a game and then you might run an ad campaign that costs many thousands of pounds, dollars, whatever. Or for essentially for free, you let people continue to do that for months on end via the Photomode. So it makes sense that they want to keep it on social media. But once it becomes more and more established, which it already is, you know, you're seeing interest from people outside of the game industry, and you're in interest from, real photography outlets and things. That's when it starts to become just a wider cultural phenomenon. You know, photography doesn't only exist on Flickr, for example. Photography is
But do you think photography could exist right now without social media?
Normal photography or virtual?
No, yeah, I think any kind of art is, like you said, enabled by social media, and some of them need that enabling in order to stay relevant.
It depends how you judge relevant. So because that's sort of saying that you need affirmation from a large following or a large number of impressions or something to make it worthwhile. That's not necessarily the case. It comes down to, again, like art's an expression, right? So if ultimately, yes, we want to share it with someone. You want that to reach someone who's interested in it, or even if they didn't know they were interested in it. But that doesn't have to be on social media. So the rest of that question is, we would really like to see some VP art galleries. Completely agree. There's been a couple. There's been a few already. I know there was one in Rome. We had the one in London at Trafalgar Square. And what was most interesting while I was there at that is seeing people who had no idea what it was being drawn in by the art. Not by the fact that it was virtual photography, not by the fact that there was a community or anything. Just they saw the image and went, wow, that's great. And then you told them how it was done, and you see this moment of realization. They're like, whoa, I think I'm going to go and try that, So in fact, it definitely not only can exist, but it can benefit from being in places other than social media. Yeah.
Yes, that's been my goal for a long time, to do a VP gallery in Portugal.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, and I hope that the Lisbon Games Week one, it's the first step, because through it I found out many VPs that I usually don't see because they don't use Twitter, they use Instagram, and since I don't use Instagram so much, I never found them. And so it's interesting. Some of them don't even use. So to enter the contest for Lisbon Games Week, you actually had to email the organization, and at least two of them don't even have social media accounts other than their personal Facebook.
Which
so
is really
when
interesting
I asked,
that they even found it.
Yeah. They found it maybe through the way. I'm going to ask, but the only point that they could have found is the website, because it was only published on Instagram, and they don't have Instagram. I asked for their tag to put under the photo in the gallery, and they said I don't have one.
Yeah. There you go. So that not only proves that it can exist outside of social media, but that you don't have to be successful on social media to be a part of it.
And to be featured in a VP art gallery. Yeah.
So that's really good. The next question on here was from Ikram, Lucky Less in India. Yeah. Instagram, that's what reminded me, because you just gone to Instagram. Instagram has changed from being a picture sharing platform to making reels. Twitter is also changing fast. How has it or may affect VP as a community? So
when talking about reels, we can maybe insert your favorite social media, TikTok, in here.
Oh God. Okay, so this comes down to the thing I dislike about social media is that it's so temporary, and I don't like putting energy into something that's essentially wasted. I don't mean just in social media, I mean in general. I don't do things for no point. I want it to have a purpose. So that was one of my motivations behind having a website, is something more permanent. It doesn't matter how many likes I got last week, today it's none. And that doesn't matter anymore. Nobody remembers who got the most likes last week, last month, last year. Nobody remembers. Nobody cares.
Well,
and those reels, you do. Okay, yeah. So who got the most likes last week?
I'm not.
You don't know?
Nah. No.
You do know.
I'm not joking. I might have a few clues on, like, not specifically last week, but I do know, like, the rising person, the person that is growing up, the person that fell off. That's me. Those kinds of numbers, I do keep track of them. Sorry,
you do an amazing job actually of being on top of the trends and stuff. I just sort of use it for function and then complain when it doesn't work. But yeah, the reels again, they disappear after one day, and I just think
no, that's the stories.
God.
Okay, so on Instagram, I can't. This is 2022, and I have to explain to Mick how Instagram works. So basically, you remember Fleets, Twitter Fleets, Fleets.
Yeah.
So that's Insta stories.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, you can post anything in there. 24 hours later, it goes away.
Okay.
You can save them as highlights in your profile, but most people don't. I like to keep them as like phone wallpapers. If you want a phone wallpaper, you just save the screenshot and you have a phone. Then Reels, it's basically TikTok on Instagram.
Right.
It's where I ruined the logo on our first episode.
That looked like a dog had eaten a jigsaw.
I'm sorry. I'm not very good at Reels, and I'm not very good at editing on my phone. And I'm too lazy to edit on my computer and transfer to my phone. So yeah, I don't. But yeah, what I like about Reels and TikTok is, so remember when you posted a video of, I think it was about depth of field in The Last of Us Part 1.
Okay.
Was it depth of field? Your video?
I did a few. But do you go on?
Okay, those videos are really interesting to place on Reels and to place on TikTok. Most of the accounts that I follow, they are basically tutorial accounts. On TikTok. They are basically tutorial accounts that let you MVPs. What I don't like is the trend that I also did. I'm trying to change that because you inspired me to do something different, but those videos take time. And as we established, I'm super lazy. What I don't like is that the trend with VP is taking a shot, any shot of anything, and save that process and sped it up and post it on TikTok, post it on Reels, and that's it. You can't understand the process. It's so fast that you can't understand. But there are quite a few successful people, VPs, on both Instagram and TikTok doing only those kinds of videos. I'm talking in terms of numbers, but not only that, but like First Person Shooter did something for Red Bull, one video for Red Bull, and I believe they found him through either TikTok or Instagram because he's basically non-existent on Twitter right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't think they're not a bad idea anyway. I actually did one of those myself on Twitter back. The hashtag for it was called the 300-second rule. And it was for when I reached 300 followers for some reason. And I said to people, I was like, let's see what you can do, what shot you can get in 300 seconds. So it's 5 minutes.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it's, I just never, it's always one of those things you think, I should do more of that. But I never remember to save the video clips. And then to go out your way and do it, I just think, I don't have, time is the issue. It really is.
I've done some with Spider-Man because I saw other people do it. On Instagram, my interaction with devs is close to non-existent.
Well, I think
but Insomniac actually reshared a couple because they like to see the process. And another one that I'm recently trying to do less of those and trying to focus more on how to do this kind of shot specifically, like how to take a good portrait on Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West or whatever, is with Forbidden West. That's my main focus right now because Ragnarok doesn't have a photo mode.
Not yet. It will. But
by the time this video releases,
it still won't.
Please don't release it until then.
Honestly, I would like the Ragnarok photo mode to come out next year now.
Yeah.
That suits me just fine. No, I'm a bit worried that it's going to come out. It either needs to come out before the VP Awards so that it can be considered for categories or most anticipated, or after. And I would, in terms of my own selfish time, I would choose after right now. But it's interesting that you mentioned dev interactions on Instagram, because I think the studios themselves are a lot more present on a platform like Twitter than they are on Instagram. Now, I don't know whether that's a sort of cultural thing about each platform, because Instagram I've always found to be about kind of low quality, quick hits and just this soup of hashtags, which I would refuse to do. And if that's what it takes to make posts popular, I don't care. I will rather not do it. I hate seeing 20, 30 hashtags on a post. It's just horrible.
Instagram, one of the management people of Instagram actually came out and said, because at the start of summer, everyone was like ganging up against Instagram for they prioritizing video instead of pictures. And a management person came out and said, well, here's the tricks to make popular content. And one of the things that he said is keep your hashtag at max 5. 5 is too many still, I think. But he said like that soup of hashtags, it's actually hurting your...
Yeah, so let's just have a quick look at I think there was a question about algorithms. There you go. So what do you think of the algorithm here on Twitter? So that's specifically to Twitter.
I thought you were talking about gaming by frame. We thrive and get the juice flowing by sharing our work. Sharing, as the name implies, use, occupy, or enjoy something jointly with another or others. If social media is but an algorithm mechanism to tame, by sharing such art with an empty room nowadays, how can we thrive?
The bit that's most interesting in that is the analogy with an empty room, because it is a very good point that you absolutely don't want to. There is nothing more frustrating than putting something out there, whether you've spent a long time on it or a short time on it, but to some extent you've got some personal pride in it, and you just want it to be interactive. You want it to be seen, and the likes don't matter, because for anyone who thinks that if they get 1,000 likes, it means it was a good picture, it isn't. That isn't the reason things
quality,
get likes.
I think it was Fimble Winter that said this. The one of the winners of the first VP Awards with the
lasso.
It's Fimble Winter. How you say his name, right? I think it is. So he said something that stuck with me. Popularity doesn't mean quality, and quality doesn't mean popularity.
Not at all.
And 100% agree.
Yeah. So
go ahead. This happens. We have a delay. Sorry, audience.
It's slight. It's enough. I would always, if people are willing to stick to what they believe in, their passion, whether it's a certain type of a genre of game, or even one type of shot, if it's just black and white architecture, whatever, just because that's not popular doesn't mean they should stop doing it. If anything, they should keep doing it, because they're the only ones doing that. Do what you are interested and believe in, not what you think. Never think I shouldn't do that because it won't get as many likes. Yes, if you're getting absolutely zero, the empty room thing becomes difficult because you start to question what's the point, and that's hard. There's no doubt about that.
And in the case of, I believe I can talk publicly about this because he even made a post about it. He has a good, two good Death Stranding posts gaming by frame that weren't seen by anyone because of the algorithm. So Death Stranding isn't popular right now. We can go by that aspect. The problem aren't the photos. The photos are good. Then you if you are on social media, and I say this a lot, and sadly I tend to believe this more and more. Social media is a game, and we can't control their rules. We are playing by their rules, and this will happen. I don't know if you got this update yet, but on Twitter right now you can see how many people viewed your post on the phone next to the likes.
He's always had that. He's always had the...
No. So it used to be that you had to click on it.
Oh, you mean it's just visible there? The number of impressions?
But they actually took it down. But yeah.
Because it's usually the little graph bars, and then you...
Yeah, that graph bar. But for a short period of time, like 3 weeks maybe, it was there, the number of views that post. And I always found it funny that my post that did best had the least reach.
Okay.
Because the people that were seeing it were interacting with it.
Yeah. So that was about it reaching the right people.
Yeah. And I don't believe that, like we said, VP is worldwide right now. So I don't think there is a right time, a right place. I do believe there is a right time to get developer interaction.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. Santa Monica, 10 to 12 p.m. UK time.
Yep.
Santa Monica on it.
I studied Santa Monica to... At a certain point, I knew exactly. I like my schedule was wide open by that time.
Yeah, but that's just learning their habits. That's nothing to do with the algorithm. That's simply the person who runs the Santa Monica account fits it in their day at this time, and you can take advantage of that because essentially, if you post something new at that time, they're more likely to see it.
And I did the same with Kojima, like not Kojima Productions, Kojima the person. Yeah. I knew at nighttime it was perfect to post because he would be online and he would retweet it. Yeah. He retweets a lot.
I can't wait until I get to announce him as a judge for the VP Awards. That's not happening just yet.
Just yet.
That will be fun. But just going to skip to the other question because there was another one about the algorithm. What do you think of the algorithm here on Twitter? This is the one I was about to read. And is it different to that of Instagram? The situation that is happening, unfortunately, I've seen many people have been affected. The situation? Is this the Twitter buyout or...
The buyout, and the verification,
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, for anyone who's not seen, then Elon Musk, the spoilt brat of a billionaire, has spent his pocket money on a social media platform and decided that he's going to maybe change some things. Charging for certain things.
Okay. I am not entirely against Twitter because they actually announced this before a paid tier of Twitter was announced way back when. I believe that's okay. Like to have an edit button, you pay something or something like that. Some functionalities of the app being behind the paywall, I'm okay with that. It's not 100% fair, but the world
you can
isn't.
just choose not to have it in it.
Yeah. To be connected with the verification, it's just like I celebrated this weekend. I celebrated like full on sheared that Spider-Man 4 was happening, and it was Tobey Maguire verified posting about it and posting like the poster and whatever. I shared in a room full of my friends, like I shared, only to find out it was actually a person impersonating Tobey Maguire and having the verified, and like trying to prove that that's the danger of
Yeah, I mean, to say that the whole point of the verification is to prove that this is a genuine thing. So to make that behind a paywall, one, will mean that everyone who has earned a verification by being either a brand or a business or some associated, say like freelance journalists, if they write for the BBC, they put that in their bio and they get verified because they write for the BBC. It's to prove that it's genuine news and things like that. If you just make it something that you can pay by choice, that totally undermines the system. So essentially, the blue tick will just become I've paid for a blue tick badge, and it's completely pointless. It may not happen anyway, but I think I think
it will. I think it will. Yeah.
Well,
that part.
If I had one, then I would be letting it go because there's no way I'd pay.
Most people that I follow, at least, that have verification, I'd say that. Like, I prefer to burn $8 than to pay $8. Yeah. It's the price of Xbox.
It was originally $20. And he responded to the negativity by reducing the price. So now who's having technical difficulties? So, for the benefit of the audience, what may be happening right now is that I have wired headphones and they don't need power. Whereas Ruben has wireless headphones and they need charging. It appears that his battery has run out on the headphones because they've been flashing and now he can't hear me. He can hear me, so it's his microphone is disconnected.
Okay.
He's back. I was just going to say, I'll move on to another question.
No, I charge my headphones every week before we record 100%. Yep. The problem was the PC. The laptop, it wasn't my.
So it was a laptop. My phone went to sleep.
No, for some reason it changed the microphone input.
Okay, well, it wouldn't be an episode of Photomode Unplugged without some sort of technological failing. Yeah. And if you would like Photomode Unplugged to improve, then please do like and subscribe.
Whoa!
Did you like that one?
Whoa!
Ring the bell. I don't know what the bell does for us. I know what it's supposed to do for other people, but do we benefit from the bell? It just brings the viewers back.
We benefit by bringing people back to listen to us.
I rang the bell myself, and I didn't get a notification of the new episode, so it was pointless.
Because you have YouTube notifications off on your phone, maybe.
No, I don't.
No,
I get notifications of the comment, but not of the episode. Yeah.
Strange.
But my phone's been unusual for notifications. I mean, Twitter doesn't send me the ones for you mentioning me in a post. If you reply to my post, I get it, but you make a new post saying @the4thfocus, nothing. And I was like, oh, there's a post here with 20 replies on it and I didn't know about. So what I just realized that we've missed from earlier, and what
We
reminded
never
me,
said the bad.
we never said the bad. Yeah, we missed the bad experiences.
Let's just keep with this one. What do we think the algorithm is different here from on Twitter than on Instagram? I think it's the videos right now.
Yeah, I think Instagram seems to follow trends more closely. As in what type of content, not even the what the content's about. I mean, like whether it's videos or, you know, those fleeting whatever they're called, stories. Instagram seems to do that. Twitter for a while tried to sort of follow it, and then they went, no, we don't like it, and got rid of it again.
This takes too much of our time. Bye.
The one thing that I really, in fact, it's a problem on both, and it's something I need, is to be able to use URLs, because like I said, I want permanent content, and that's on the website. On Instagram, you can't post a URL until what,
you
10,000 followers or something?
No. Okay, that changed.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
No, it didn't.
It did. So So now you can post URLs on your stories, but like you said, they are fleeting. They only stay for 24 hours.
A temporary URL. Right.
Yeah, but you can pin it on your profile and keep it. Like, for instance, for the Ford Focus website, you have gallery, the blog, opinions, whatever, and you can go and pin those on your Instagram profile, and people will just click it and search for the Photomode review of The Last of Us Part 2 and see it.
Maybe I should explore this.
Yeah, Danny actually said that your Instagram is really, really good looking.
So what I did was I deleted all but like one of my Instagram posts, and then we made it as a mock-up, and I was like, right, I'm going to use the 3. So you've got to post them as 3. I make an image and I split it into 3 squares, because Instagram likes square images. Yeah, and then you post them in reverse, and each one is one of the rows. You
could do so many things on Instagram. Like, you could do the videos that you do on Reels, and keep your grid exactly the same. So, for instance, let's say photo mode review of a certain game. You still do the 3 posts, and that will still be there. You have your tutorials on the Reels, and then you have the highlights with the URLs for the... So I can do that, and I don't, but I'm telling you to do it.
Yeah. So this is a recurring theme of when I should take you on as my social media manager. When the Fourth Focus becomes a profitable entity, then I know where to go for my be the community manager. You want a community manager's job, and that's the best one.
Yeah, I would actually love that, and you wouldn't even have to pay me that much, to be honest. If any community team person is like here, I want your job. Please hire me.
Yeah, you do.
So the bad.
The bad. Okay.
The bad actually goes with one of the questions we've received. Can you say the name? DPR Ruts _ VP. The Pruths VP.
Where am I going?
It's between Gaming by Frame and Ari.
Yeah. DP Ruts. I'm going to say DP Ruts VP.
Okay.
Yeah.
With mental health having an ever-growing impact within the community, what more do we think we can interact and get to know each other and support each other is there a space for video chats for interactions? Is there a space for in-person meetups like in the, I think, No Man's Sky community?
That is what NMS use.
Do you want to go first? Can I?
Go on then, if you've got something. Go on.
Okay, so this is tied with the bad to me.
Yeah.
As we established, I am a big social media user. And that set me up to maybe set up goals, unachievable goals for myself. Like, for years and years and years, I created God of War content. And as soon as the Ragnarok pre-orders, like, they released the date, they revealed the date, and the pre-orders were like two days after that. And I was at work at the time, and someone mentioned that to me because I was working while they were on Twitter. So I was working. And I said something like, oh, I don't need to pre-order. I'm going to get that game for free, for sure.
The arrogance.
Yeah, but the thing is, now I see that not only as arrogance, because I actually did get it for free, but the problem isn't arrogance. The problem is, what if I didn't get it for free? And that happened before with some goals that I wanted to achieve, like 10,000 followers by the end of last year, and I didn't. I only achieved it in February. And by this time last year, I was feeling really good because I was working with studios. But a couple of weeks after that, my goal was 10,000, and I was like, I won't meet this goal. And I was feeling really bad. Like, and I had to talk with my girlfriend, and she put it in perspective. You don't need the followers. You worked with studios. Why are you so down about? And the other thing is, and you know most of the drama that I've been part of, and that took a lot of my sleep over the years.
Yeah.
Not necessarily numbers, not necessarily connected with VP, but at the start I would put too much of my personal and my personality into Twitter and into my profile. Now you only see like posts for VP, like God of War, 4 shots, Horizon, 4 shots. But I used to make a lot more posts about my personal life and put out more of my opinions. And that led to some drama, and that led to me losing some nights of sleep because of that. And that took a big thing of my mental health that I think that's the bad for me.
It definitely is. So I'll be honest, I've not had any similar problems like that, but I have certainly witnessed them. I think that so there's a few things that you mentioned anyway, but the point about perspective is a good one, because it's easy to say that that's just vanity, that you were in any way bothered about whether you did or didn't reach 10,000 followers. There's people who might not reach 100 followers. So that the matter of perspective there is huge. You know, you see people complaining that their interactions, my interactions have dropped off again. And you look at the posts and they've got nothing with less than 300 interactions on it. And you're like, yeah, try having less than 10. Then you'll be complaining again. It's a matter of perspective. Is huge.
I actually stopped complaining because of you, because I told you that my interactions dropped off, and that was your answer.
Because someone posts a picture that took them 5 minutes, and I spent 15 hours writing a blog post that gets seen by, not interacted by, impressions of like 200-300, and you think, what was that for? It wasn't worthwhile. And that the Twitter thing suppressing URLs is a problem there. That definitely affects my account. But yeah, all of that really is vanity. Anyone who complains about the number of likes that they're getting, total vanity, total sort of inconsequence, really. The stuff and the question touches upon it about it being about mental health, and it certainly doesn't. It's not like a plague that's really cursing everybody, but there is this tendency for this isn't specific to virtual photography. This is kind of just an online thing, an online phenomenon. There's a tendency, isn't there, for people to misinterpret and to impress their own opinions on the way something is said. And someone may express an opinion and others read it differently, and then it can get totally ganged up on. And the whole bandwagon thing can happen very easily. And even if the two original people who maybe had a disagreement are no longer disagreeing, it can continue. And people make it the thing that I really dislike, and I often get told that I'm very sort of diplomatic or balanced on and things, don't take sides. And that's because you've just got to be aware that you're not seeing the whole story. Yeah. You see someone, and you can disagree that they're entitled to make a mistake. So people might say something stupid, wrong, but it's that people jump onto it in thinking that they know everything. Oh, that person is like this, and I dislike them. I hate them even because of it. The reverse might be true. You might really think that you like someone's account. In reality, they might be a total bell end that you just wouldn't get on with.
Yep.
You cannot make a full assumption or a full opinion, a full judgment. You certainly can't make a judgment on what people are or are not like simply through social media. And there's definitely a problem where people get some people get too uptight about their own things. I have seen quite a bit and this is VP related. They can be quite precious about things. So I'm going to move away to something slightly more lighthearted, but just because it reminds me of I would class it as a negative experience. So this was quite a while ago, and so Kevin McAllister, who is now the community manager at Bend. This was before he was at Bend, while he was running his Broken Road blog.
Yeah.
And this kind of happened because of that.
That's the best example of the good that can happen.
Yes, totally. Yeah. So he followed something he was really passionate about, and it absolutely led on to bigger things for him. And this was what affected me at the time was the frustration. It was about the blog posts, actually. So I'm there writing these posts, and you're trying to get them seen, and you think the more time I spend on this, almost the less the reward feels, because I'm not getting that much visibility back from it. And at the time, Kevin's blog was doing really well, and he'd already asked me about a few things, and he was openly saying, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to copy that." So I was like, "Yeah, all right, okay." But then there was one day, and I really regret the message that I sent to him, because I put out a thing, and it was at the time where we were trying to figure out how to best structure a tweet. So you might use certain emojis and the way that you laid out the thing, where does the URL go, things like that. And I'd come up with a kind of what was its own style at the time, as though you can be like precious about copywriting the form of a tweet. But Kevin copied it, literally exact same layout. And because his post did really well,
did bad, yeah,
and mine was like unseen. And I was like, I'm going to message him now. And I said, come on, Kevin, it's, like this is a bit much, this like, and I sort of accused him of ripping off my stuff. Which was nothing about the content. Obviously, it was just purely he laid out his tweet in the same way. But because I was in that state of just frustration about mine, I took it out on him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I take this so seriously." And straight after, and I was like, I shouldn't have even said it, but So
But yeah,
you
but that
give
happens.
another public apology, Colin. I just called him Colin. I've apologized, then called him Colin. Kevin, what?
Oh yeah, last week I apologized to you for calling you Mike, and right
that was
after
on
that I
purpose,
called you Mike. Again, but yeah, that happened quite often in the early days of VP when Horizon Zero Dawn and Spider-Man and God of War were the only 3 games. We would like copy each other's like way of tweeting.
Yeah.
That's funny. I remember someone DMing me about that. Oh, can I use the layout that you use?
Yeah. See,
Yes.
at least they asked, not like Kevin. Anyway.
But about the second part of like this comment, is there a space for video chat interactions and a space for in-person meetups?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you do know. The answer is yes. It's not going to be like a total routine thing, but it's the sort of thing that can start to happen in and around other events. So people might go to a larger event, and you start to, because the trouble with it, and the trouble you can feel the negativity about your own post is because you get isolated from it, because of it in a way. But if you, let's say, your Lisbon Games Week, and if there's a large meetup of other VPs coming there, it's that chance to talk and to get the real impression of what people like, because you don't get personality very much through the accounts. So, yeah. I mean, everybody, the technology's there if you want to start arranging video chats and group calls. Yeah, of course. There's nothing to stop
I
you
remember
doing it.
when the PlayStation 5 was revealed in the showcase, the Future of Game showcase of PlayStation a few years back. We did have a voice chat on the Gametographer's Discord, and it was actually the first time that I interacted voice-wise with Spiggy and some of the others. So that was fun. So I know you don't like it, but Discord might be a good solution for this. And I've seen many people throw around Discord as an alternative to keep the community connected when maybe Twitter goes out in flames. Maybe. And this actually kind of goes into Nico's question about...
do you want to... We're thinking about whether this is going to be a 2-part episode. And I think at this point...
this is definitely going to be a 2-part
episode.
episode. But I want to keep this part...
Okay, go on then.
...as part of this episode. So we are going to start part 2 right after I say Nico's and the next topic, which is alternative apps that we would recommend to, I think, Twitter. I think they are mentioning Twitter. So
it doesn't say Twitter. It just says, here's a topic, alternative apps. What would you guys recommend? Have a good one, y'all. Your reply was interesting, which says recommend is such a strong word.
Yeah, because I'm... yeah.
So find out next time.
Yeah. Don't miss the next episode because we won't. I know you never saw Dragon Ball, but that's how every episode ended.
True
with the
cliffhanger.
narrator said, if you want to find out, don't lose the next episode because we won't.
Excellent.